This headline has been dominating the news cycle, which is Brittney Griner has been sentenced to 9 years in Russian prison for smuggling less than 1 gram of cannabis oil in her luggage. So she was sentenced to serve 9 years in prison. According to this article on CNN, it says that her lawyers, Maria Blagovolina and Alexander Boykov, are going to try to appeal this decision. They have 10 days to appeal. I would say it's safe to say they probably won't win the appeal. It seems Russian legal system is probably more corrupt than even our legal system in the U.S. So we'll see what happens in that regard. But quote I'm going to read from this is what Brittney Griner had to say about the situation. I never meant to hurt anybody. I never meant to put in jeopardy the Russian population. I never meant to break any laws here. I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling that it doesn't end my life here. I know everybody keeps talking about political pawn and politics, but I hope that that is far from this courtroom. So I think this was actually her quote with her trying to appeal to the jury and pleading for leniency and hoping that they would give her a fair sentence or probably just a slap on the wrist, obviously. So it didn't work out for her. What are my thoughts about this situation? I'm trying to have empathy for her, but at the same time, I always feel you have to be smart when you go to these countries. You have to be intelligent. You have to research all the laws to make sure you're not violating anything, or if you think something, if you're not sure if something's legal in the country that you're visiting or staying in outside of the US, you should try to research it or look it up or Google it. There's like no excuses not to know. And even the US, I've looked this up, that cannabis oil is only legal if it's made from hemp. If it's made from marijuana, it's not legal. So even the US, she could have got in trouble if she had the wrong type of cannabis oil. I don't know if the one she smuggled into Russia was made out of marijuana. I don't know, but it's illegal over there, allegedly. With that being said, I do believe that she's been made a political pawn due to the war in Ukraine that Russia's having and how the US is against Russia indirectly by giving weapons to Ukraine. So it's obvious that she's been used as a pawn in this battle. That is true, but she was not smart in putting herself in this position. I just always shake my head when these athletes get in trouble for stuff that pertains to weed and anything related to it, which in this case was cannabis oil. I never understand athletes' obsession with that drug. Just it to me, I always shake my head when you have lots of money on the line and you're willing to throw it away over some stupid drug. It's just it always says to me that you lack some type of discipline or mental discipline in your mind just to be able to preserve yourself. Life is about preservation, and it just seems like a lot of people throw that away for the dumbest things when they have a lot of good things going on. Granted, I don't know what type of stress Brittney Griner was going through or what type of traumas she was dealing with that she needed cannabis oil or some drug to calm her down. I do have empathy for people who've had traumas, but again, just bad decision by her. I really believe that. I also found it interesting how I think it was a few weeks ago there was rumors that we were gonna trade the Merchant of Death for her and some guy I believe by the name of, let me just look up his name because I want to make sure I'm correct. His name was Paul Whelan, so we were gonna try to trade this guy nicknamed the Merchant of Death for Griner and Paul Whelan originally, and that was the hope that this prisoner swap would be good enough for Russia. I think I think what happened was that Russia decided that they wanted more. They wanted more from the U.S. I think they wanted more Russian criminals to be released with the Merchant of Death. That's why it didn't go through. So there's rumors that Putin is trying to leverage to get even a better deal for trade for Brittney Griner, and then it puts the U.S. in a tough situation, which is it worth it to give up really these horrible criminals for Brittney Griner? Just these criminals being in a U.S. prison are worth more than getting Brittney Griner back? I think that's a tough question to answer, and I think unfortunately the answer to that question is yes. These criminals are worth more than Brittney Griner, worth more than trading for her. These criminals are probably a security threat to the U.S. in some way, and that's why they shouldn't be released. To me, it's really tough. This is like in sports having to trade two legit players for a scrub, I would say. I know that sounds cruel to call Brittney Griner that, but that's what it really feels like. We're basically giving Russia two top-notch criminals for free, and we're not getting some of high value back. I know that's terrible, but that's how I feel about it. I definitely think it's terrible that she has to be in jail. I believe in a perfect world we would be able to get her out of the situation. I don't think anybody should be in jail that long just for cannabis oil or for even weed, but just she made a very dumb decision and now she's put in this horrible predicament. I'll also say on top of that, just there's so many people all around the world that get locked up in these prisons outside the U.S. for committing dumb crimes. They're U.S. citizens that go to different countries and they do stupid things and they get in trouble. I always say that if it's not legal in the U.S., you shouldn't try to attempt it outside the U.S. I never get the mindset some of these people who do this dumb stuff and then they get in trouble. One of the leading causes of people going to jail overseas is always usually drugs. That's usually what gets most people. It's always sad when people get taken down over drug charges. I think that's always the one of the worst ways to go to jail. Like if you're gonna go to jail, I'm not encouraging people to commit crimes, but at least make sure it was over something legit, not something stupid and just minor as doing drugs. And I just felt Brittney threw away a good life that she had. Granted, WNBA players don't make much, but I think she had made enough money from playing overseas. Let me see what her net worth was. I'm trying to see what it was. I'm just going to Google it right now. I'm Googling it. Let me see how much is. So according to some of these websites, it says that she's estimated to be worth $5 million. So she had a really, really good life. $5 million still is a lot of money even with inflation going on right now. So she could have lived a comfortable life. But she needed her cannabis oil that badly that she was willing to throw all that away. Now she has 9 years being in prison. And who knows when she gets out of prison what her life will be like just coming back. Just threw away basically a decade of your life over just some recreational drug. I think when she looks back on it, she will definitely regret it. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say other than there's just millions of other people out there who've also put themselves in that situation overseas and they're suffering, but they don't get a rescue. They don't get no attention. Go watch the show Locked Up Abroad and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's so many other people who have committed the same mistakes as Brittney and they haven't been saved. So the question to ask is Brittney more valuable than these other people who are in these prisons in these other countries who are Americans for committing crimes? I don't think so. So that's how I feel about this.